You are listening to In the Know with David O. Informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio on 860 AM WWDB. And now, your host, Philadelphia Councilman David O.
Good afternoon. This is David O, and you are in the know with David O. Thank you for joining me here on WWDB 860 AM. Today, we have a fantastic show for you. What a variety. We're going to talk to Frank Knuckles Walker. He is a percussionist, producer, drummer. He was with The Roots for, I think, about 16 years, so you've probably seen him on television. He lives here in Philadelphia, and he's going to tell us about what he's up to, what he's doing. Yes. And then we are sitting here with Miss Black America 2017, Brittany Lewis. Beauty and Brains. So we're going to hear a little bit about the brains. And listen, we're going to videotape this. So, you know, if you want to see the beauty, you can hear her voice. But you can also go to my YouTube channel, In the Know with David O, and take a look at the video. And then we're going to talk to someone who makes films, and that is Rel Dowdell. He has done a couple of very acclaimed films, and he is going to talk about his project, which is Where's Daddy, and all that's involved with that topic. And so we will hear from them very shortly. Let me thank my sponsors, starting with, of course, Weinerman Pain and Wellness. They're our primary sponsor. They thanks to them, they bring us this show every week, and they do a fantastic job of helping those who need to recuperate and recover. They do physical rehabilitation, which also, you know, oftentimes doesn't just deal with the body, deals with the spirit and the mind. And if you remember, last week we talked to Gary Tuggle, the special agent in charge of the DEA for the Philadelphia field office, which includes all of Pennsylvania and the state of Delaware. And we're talking about combating the heroin epidemic. And we spotlighted Alexander Murphy Jr. Esquire. He's an entertainment lawyer who focuses on film. And he and Rel Dowdell will be both available for you to meet and speak with, because this Thursday, September the 28th, at Community College of Philadelphia, 1700 Spring Garden, we will be having a free panel on how to finance, produce, and distribute your film. That's a really tough topic. We have some talented filmmakers, but where do you get the money? How do you produce it? How do you distribute your film? So we have some wonderful speakers, including, of course, Alexander Murphy and Rel Dowdell, but also Daphne Yachin, Gabriella Watson Arazo, and Devin Hampton, all there to tell you how to finance, produce, and distribute your film. And our third guest last week was Natalie Boss, Body by Boss, How to Get in Shape Fast. If you want to hear that or any other show, you can go to www.dbam.com, or you can go to my YouTube page, In the Know with David O. Well, let me start by introducing Frank Knuckles. He was originally from Jamaica, born there, and
that's right,
and raised in Philadelphia,
West
Philly. You know, my part of town. I'm a citywide councilman, but you know, I live in West Philly, and he has had a very distinguished career, playing with the Roots and producing music and all those type of things. You know, we're going to talk with him because he's no longer with the Roots. He's doing his own thing right now, and get into a little bit of that. So, Frank, thank you very much for joining the show.
Thank you for having me, David.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's interesting to me because you picked up the drums at the age of 16. Is that right?
Yes, pretty much about like the age of 13, really.
13?
Yeah, 13, you know, started in church. You know, it was a church I was going to back in Southwest Philly.
Okay.
At the time, but really just honed in on the craft, you know, really just kept on practicing, didn't really have a music teacher or a drum teacher or anything like that. I really just kept it to myself and just worked on the craft on my own.
Right. And I guess that's what I'm talking about, because that sounds like a little late in life. I know 13's young, but is that late or is that kind of normal?
Well, here's the thing. I tell everybody doesn't matter what age. Just start to do whatever you want to do in life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Age or music or anything you want to do doesn't have an age limit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's just all about just getting up, starting, and completing and executing the plan.
Well, I love that, and I do a little thing called PHL Live Center Stage that you and I have talked about, and it's exactly for someone kind of like you. I mean,
absolutely.
You know, someone who didn't have music education, but basically went to church, for example, you know, started playing the drums, and,
that's right.
you know, needs an opportunity.
Absolutely.
So how was it that you kind of came out from just kind of quietly playing the drums yourselves at church and all that? How did you kind of get into the whole idea that you would be a professional musician?
Well, it was me, for real. I had to be at the right place at the right time while I was practicing, but I was also, you know, staying on top and staying connected and networking with people who were, you know, having shows that were coming up in Philly. In Philly at that time, it was a lot of music being played around the town. So it was able for me just getting in the right jam session and going up there and just having the confidence and going up there and then really going up there and doing your best job. And then once you do a first show or do a few jam sessions, your confidence is through the roof. It's like basketball players when they first see the ball going to hoop for the first time.
Right.
They really have a amazing confidence to continue on, just keep shooting. Even if you miss, you continue to push forward.
How did you start out? I mean, we're kind of talking about you're 13 and something, and then next thing you know, you're doing jam sessions. Like that didn't happen overnight, did it?
No, not at all. I mean, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of hard work, of course, and perfecting the craft, but also, like I said before, it was all about just being at the right place at the right time and meeting the opportunity. And that's what really presented itself, because when the opportunity came for me, I was right there, and I was able to, you know, do it the best to my ability. And then that garnished the opportunity to come to my way.
Could you describe to somebody who might be 13 or 16, what does it mean to be, you know, out there at the right time, at the right place? What does that mean? What do they got to do? Certainly not just sit at home, right?
Well, definitely don't sit at home. That's for sure. It's all about getting out to any place where music is being played.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's in the park or if it's at an event or a jam session or something like that. You want to be around music all the time. If you don't have a place to go to, then you create music with yourself. Inside your home, we have great music technology that's out now, you know, as well as music instruments as well. But it's all about never, never, never. Every day you should be making progress towards an opportunity, towards a goal.
How old were you just before you found a level of success?
Well, my level of success started at 19 with D'Angelo. That was my first time out, first time on tour, first time, you know, still wet behind the ears on all levels. So, you know, that was a very, very teachable tour and teachable, you know, I learned so much from that tour. But I started at 19 and then just kept on going and did a couple years with D'Angelo, and then that led to the opportunity with the Roots.
How did that opportunity with the Roots occur?
Well, at the time, the Roots drummer was playing with D'Angelo, and then actually before that actually happened, there was an audition. You know, I mean, for D'Angelo for that drummer spot, and it was in New York at SIR Studios. So, you know, me being the person that I am, always confident, but when I walked into the room, it was like a million drummers. Some of them I knew, some of them they were legendary, but it was all about just me just sticking to what I knew. And then when my name was being called, getting up there and just doing the best that I could do at the best of my ability, and then it really led to me getting the job.
Let me throw this out for our listeners. Focused and faithful.
That's right.
You know, I picked that up because looking at your tweets and looking at your Facebook, you know, those two words kind of jumped out at me, because you're always saying, stay focused, be focused. Yeah. And then you always kind of say, you know, like, well, you know, God has given me this, and keep the faith and be faithful. At that time, when you walked in that room with all these drummers, legendary drummers, what had Focused and Faithful, what had that done for you up until then?
Well, for real, it was all that I had at the time. It was just me, myself, my focus, and my faith. My faith in God, of course, and then also my faith in my ability. Right. My ability, my skills, my talent that I was blessed with. So those two things are major components to anybody that wants to do anything in life, no matter what it is. It's about having your focus and your determination to execute what you want to do, have a plan, and then having the faith, which is the confidence within yourself, to go out there and meet the goal and then accomplish it.
That's very interesting.
Absolutely.
And it just kind of reminds me. I would tell people like kind of like a similar version. It's like I was in the Army and we had I was in airborne school and we had to jump out of airplanes and I discovered that I was deathly afraid of jumping out the airplane.
How much focus and faith did you have that day?
Well, you know what, I just But it occurred to me that you don't know what'll happen, but your job is to exit the aircraft, and so you just do that, and you just believe in yourself, you believe in your equipment, you believe in God, you take that step out, and after that, you're in the wind. And what will happen will happen, but it doesn't stop you from exiting the airplane.
It doesn't stop you. And then in this world today, we have a lot of distractions everywhere, from social media to what the president's doing right now, and so much, social issues, racial issues, everything like that. But it's all about having that focus, because it's so much distractions going on here in the world. So focus and staying faithful in yourself and in belief in yourself is the number one key.
What up till now has been the highlight of your career, would you say?
I would say the highlight of my career would have to be me being a parent. I believe that, the experiences and everything that I experienced in life, and being a musician and travel the world and playing with, every artist from A to Z, has given me the ability to share that with my daughter and be able to teach her and then be able to show her different things, but from a different perspective. Right. So that was, I would say that would be number one.
Okay.
And then I'm not even done, because, I'm actually just going through a little setback, but actually it's going to be the setup to what's going to be happening, which is going to be great.
Let's talk about that. You were with the Roots for how long? 16 years?
Yeah, 16, 17 years roughly.
Yeah, and I'm sure those were great times.
Yeah, you could say.
Professionally speaking, you're with this known group, the Roots. You're on television.
Right.
You're doing all this stuff.
That's right.
And you do other things as well.
Yes. I will always tell myself I'm a multi-talented guy.
Right.
Very, very multi-talented guy, because I can never allow myself to be boxed in. To just only to be doing one thing as a drummer. I also produce, I also mentor, I also inspire. I think that's a job in itself, to motivate and inspire people every day, or motivate and inspire the people that are around you, that you see the potential within themselves. So with me doing what I do every day in the music world, and then also with me reaching and connecting people with everybody that I reach and I stay in touch with through my social media, it's this thing I have, Trophy Talk, that I do on social media, where every day I aspire people to stay healthy, stay focused, stay faithful, and work the dream and make it reality.
Frank Knuckles is pretty built.
Well, you got to keep them. You got to stay. Health is wealth. That's what I tell everybody.
You look pretty tame right here, ladies and gentlemen. But I've seen his pictures with the bulging muscles, and you're pretty much into fitness, aren't you?
Oh yes, every day. It's part of my life. Every single day.
Right.
I believe that when you start your day with fitness, it really sets the precedent for what the rest of the day. Your day is going to be able to be progressive in any way, shape, and form. Even someone comes with a struggle, or situation, or challenge, I believe that gym sets your mind and gives you the ability to meet anything.
Right.
Every day we wake up with new tests. So we gotta be able to beat them.
I've been very kind of struck by the fact that you just really focus on being positive. And
gotta be.
Where'd you get that from?
Man, I get that from God, but mainly I get that from my mom.
Right.
My mom, my mother, and my father are, coming from the Jamaican background, they teach you a lot about staying focused, but also being positive through tough times. You know what I mean? And that's where you really test yourself. You know what I mean? It's not when everything is good and everything is great going on. And then, positive. Of course, everyone can be positive at that time. But it's when you go through a little struggle, a little negativity, a little battle, a little war, a little storm. That's when it really calls on yourself to have that positivity, to stay focused, to know that things are going to work out, and things are going to work out for the better.
So were you this kind of child? Were you the positive, focused child, or
No,
okay,
not I can no.
So that came later.
That came later on, way later on in life. I'm telling you,
all right.
I was a bad little son of a gun. You know,
okay. So,
you know, but it was all part of life's learning experiences and learning curves and everything like that. So through bad, when you go through bad experiences, it also teach you what you should not be doing.
Yes.
And then that should make you learn as an adult or as a person growing up to, okay, I got to correct that about myself. And then I got to go ahead and make the positive adjustments so I can go ahead and be a positive person and be a greater person.
Right. So your time with the Roots has come to an end.
Yes.
And what is out there that you're looking at and thinking about doing? What are the struggles that you have, and what is your hope for the future?
Well, I would say, like, in anything, you spend a lot of time, or spend, in my case, half of your life, being loyal, sacrificing, and experiencing so much on that other side. But then it's also, the struggle of making that transition, because now it's on your playing field now. Now you're on your own too, without them. So now it's all about you. You got to have the most confidence as you ever had in your life to continue to push forward, and then also put the work in twice as hard to make your own dreams, to make your own brand, the things that you want to really accomplish yourself, make that really happen. And for me, I personally can say that that is already in motion. Great things has been happening for me. I thank God for a lot of opportunities and a lot of people that have reached out. And then it's definitely given me, just an opportunity to continue to, be the professional person that I am as a musician, and then also give me, the opportunity to go ahead and try something new and go ahead and bring something new to the table, something that people haven't seen. So now that I have the ability to really just showcase my true talent and everything that I am. And, thank God a lot of things are happening. So 2018 and the rest of this year, be on the lookout. It's going to be a lot of great things happening from Frank Knuckles coming up.
What can we expect to see? Give us a teaser. Let us know.
A little teaser. Well, I could say there's going to be a lot of new music coming out. A lot of new music coming out with a lot of major artists and artists that are out there in the music world. And for me, music production and music creativity has been, a love of mine since the beginning. It's kind of was the baby to me actually getting into music. Because the art of creating music from scratch and from nothing has been it's an incredible thing. So that process has also led me to, like, okay, it's time for you to be the creator. It's time for you to be the producer. It's time for you to be the musical director. And really just get out there and make things happen and really turn that life and make that thing be a platform for me to also not showcase my music, but also reach and talk to people. A lot of people that know me, they know that I really, really sit down and talk to you and give you great motivation and give you positive words and give you positive encouragement. So I feel like my music is going to be the open door to connecting with even more artists and people that I haven't met with or played with before, and to be able to connect with them on a different level. Everybody needs someone to talk to. Everyone needs somebody, a listening ear and a positive person in their corner, no matter what they're going to be able to just, turn the music off for a second and be like, hey, let's talk, bro. Is everything all right? How's your family? How's your kids? How's your loved ones? And that's the caring part of music when it's outside of the studio. It's not about the music. It's about the person. So I want to be the person that to be able to do that, and I am going to be doing that.
For those of us like me who aren't in the music industry, it sounds almost like you're talking about maybe like a world-class sprinter, and the difference between being last and first is like a split second.
That's right.
And so it's so important to have not only the right coach and trainer, but the right motivator in order to get that top level performance. Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely, absolutely. David, the fact that you brought that point, it's really what I want to drive home, because those are the people behind the scenes that a lot of people don't really either get credit for or people just don't see. They see the end result. They don't see the hard work. They don't see the late nights. They don't see the sacrifice, the tons of sacrifice that you put in to accomplish a goal. So it's all about having those people in your corner. You know, every fighter has not only its trainer, but it also has other components and people that's a part of the team. That's really important to a fighter and to who you are as a person.
Right.
You know, so in reaching a goal, you need positive affirmation, positive encouragement throughout, because that's part of the test too. Before you get there,
Right.
It's a lot of struggle.
Yeah, that is just so interesting, because one of the things that in the course of doing this radio show and talking to some really outstanding people, they have all kind of come back with, if I could summarize, there are a lot of God-gifted, talented people out there who will never make it because they don't believe in themselves.
That's right.
They get distracted. They make a wrong turn.
That's
they
right.
can't stay focused and positive, and they give up.
And they give up. So easy to give up, though. That's the crazy thing about it. When you get discouraged,
Right.
or something doesn't go your way, or say you have a pitfall on your way down the road, it's so easy to give up and so easy to think. But that's the part that is the true test within the person. It's like, okay, you continue to push forward, because the outcome is the part that no one knows.
Right.
God sees the outcome.
Right.
You know, it's the test within the fight. It's the fighter. It's the dog within the fight. It's the person that's going through the storm.
Right.
And then actually, when you persevere through it and then you come out, sun is shining. You reach your goal.
Sure.
Everyone that held you back and said that you couldn't do it now are praising you. Now are giving you the victory parade.
Right. So tell me about Frank Knuckles, the musician. So we heard about Frank Knuckles, new music producer, ear for music and creativity.
Right.
How about Frank Knuckles, the musician? What are you doing? What are you going to be doing?
Well, I'm going to be working a lot with some new artists and bands that are out there, and really just getting myself, back out in the field playing. Honestly, as a musician, after you've been doing it for about 15 and 17 years, you've been away from it for a while. You want to get back. I'm like Michael Jordan. I'm like, I want to get back in and put the 45 back on. You know what I'm saying? And get back out there and win more trophies and win more championships. So, that is coming soon. There's some great things that are in the works, and it's all about timing.
Right.
Sometimes people want to know, they want to know faster than you do. When are you getting back on it? But great things are on the way, and great things take time. Great things take time. And when you're talking about a major comeback, it takes great time and preparation, and great things have to be set up, and great strategies have to be executed. But it's great things are on the way. Great things are on the way.
For our listeners who want to follow you, maybe even get involved with you, I don't know. How do they get in touch with you?
Well, you can follow me on my Instagram at Frank Knuckles, and on my Snapchat, it's a little different, but it's called Mr. OG Fresadente. That's on Snapchat.
Okay, if you can spell that.
El Presidente. But when you type the EL and then you get to the fresh, then my name will come up. Then you'll see Frank Knuckles.
There you go.
What I'm
saying?
Right. Snapchat, they love me.
Hey,
man.
that's for young folks, man. I don't have Snapchat. I need to get it, but okay.
And then Twitter also, it's Frank at Frank Knuckles as well. But definitely everybody out there that's listening, come follow your boy. I'm nothing but a positive person. I will inspire you. I will inspire you and motivate you to get your trophies and continue to push for what your goals and what you want to get in life, and then be an accomplishments, and then also inspire other people on your way down your path. So it's all about that. It's all about that, and using social media as a perfect platform to be able to do that and accomplish that. So follow your boy, all right? Trophy Talk is in business, baby. Follow your man, all right?
All right, that's great. And so listen, stay tuned, because we got to take a commercial break. But when we get back, we'll be talking to Brittany Lewis.
Oh, yes.
Miss Black
Brits in the
America 2017.
That's right. Come on now.
You are listening to In the Know with David O. Informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio on 860 AM WWDB.
If you've suffered an injury from a motor vehicle crash, trip and fall, construction, or work-related accident, contact the Padova firm to speak with John Padova himself. You've heard the name. That's because for over 25 years, John has been winning for his clients. John is dedicated to ensuring his clients are fully compensated. Call 215-893-0700. That's 215-893-0700. Don't suffer more than you have to. Call John Padova today. Help is on the way.
Here at Sonny's Famous Cheesesteaks, we have the utmost respect for the founding fathers of our fair city's most celebrated sandwich. But we also understand the inevitability of time marching on. So come to Sonny's in Old City for a revolutionary take on the classic. And try the cheesesteak that Alan Richmond of GQ magazine named the best in Philadelphia. And declare your inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of cheesiness. Sonny's Famous Steaks, 228 Market.
My friends, this is Joe Kraus. You've heard me on Philadelphia radio now for over 20 years, and you know I don't often endorse products or people unless they are real game changers. I want to tell you about Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located in Center City, Philadelphia. And at the end of this short personal endorsement, I want you to consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness. If you are recovering from an injury, if you or a family member has been diagnosed with a disorder that has stopped you in your tracks, or if you're like me, determined to learn about wellness while getting yourself prepared to stay healthy so you can enjoy the blessings of your family. Remember the name of this warm and caring location, Weinerman Pain and Wellness. Why should you consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness? Because they are who you expect them to be. Weinerman Pain and Wellness on the web at weinermanpainandwellness.com.
Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located at 100 South Broad Street, just south of City Hall. Call Weinerman Pain and Wellness at 215-988-9503. That's 215-988-9503. Call today. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the Philly Labor RX Injured Workers Pharmacy Network, featuring PPC Pharmacy, First Choice Pharmacy, and Precision Scripts, providing injured workers with premium products and services from the point of injury through the entire healing process. The Philly Labor RX Pharmacy Network cares about injured workers.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
All right, and we are back. Listen, for those who are interested in, a career in music, particularly performers, hey, you've got until the end of September 30th, to enter PHL Live Center Stage. Coors Light presents PHL Live Center Stage. Go to phlive.org. It's free. Just upload your YouTube video of your performance. They'll kind of tell you the rules right on the website. And, we have Grammy Award-winning and music industry leader judges who will go through all those videos, 10 categories of music, select 5 finalists, and you will perform live in some of Philadelphia's best venues. And then we will have an award show. I was just talking to Frank Knuckles saying you should be the MC. He says he would love to.
I would love it.
Oh, there you go, Frank Knuckles, MC.
We already signed the papers, baby. We are ready to go.
All right, so listen, excitement happening even as we're sitting here. So what happens is you could win $1,000 free studio recording time and other great prizes. But most importantly, listen, you're going to have some really outstanding people checking you out for you, and they've got the ability to kind of know who's really got it and who doesn't. Hey, that's a tough thing to say, but it's a tough business, and it better and get some true feedback, and not waste your time. The second thing I want to say is that for those who support those who defend our freedoms, I am having a fundraiser for the U.S. Army Green Berets. The Green Berets, America's A-Team. Friday, October the 6th at Saigon Maxim Restaurant at 612 Washington Avenue, right here in Philadelphia. Listen, it's $65 for a ticket, $500 for a table, and it includes buffet dinner, live entertainment, VIPs and speakers, auction and all that stuff. And so we'll be there with Danny Swift Garcia, WBC, WBA World Boxing Champion, International DJ Casper, American Dinosaur, Second Street Irish Society, Ed Rendell, former governor of Pennsylvania, former mayor of Philadelphia, the current, currently the Speaker of the House, Mike Turzai, and the former Undersecretary of the Army, former Congressman Pat Murphy, as well as our speakers and everyone else. Our MC will be Dan Baker, PA announcer for the Philadelphia Phillies, and we'll even have the Fanatics stop by. So come out, have a great time supporting those who protect our nation. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Brittany Lewis. She is the winner of Miss Black America, and so she is the title holder. Brittany, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let me just say this. You are currently in the midst of getting your PhD.
I am.
Which is sometimes a surprise, right? Because people kind of figure out that life should be fair. If you got this much beauty, you shouldn't have that much brains, right? But you're standing here kind of putting it in our face, like you have beauty and brains. So what are you getting your PhD in?
So I'm a history PhD, but my focus is Black history as well as urban history, so the formation of cities and suburbs.
And that's interesting because you, in fact, entered the Miss Black America pageant. Not your first pageant. You actually were the second runner-up in the Miss Delaware pageant.
I actually won. So the first year that I competed for Miss Delaware, I was second runner-up. And then the next year, I actually won, and I competed in Miss America in 2014.
Wow. Okay, so I didn't know that. So, in fact, you were Miss Delaware, you competed for Miss America, and then you entered the Miss Black America pageant and won that. Why the pageants? Because when I look at your background from high school into your major at Temple University, which I believe you were a dual major.
I was.
Yes. Yep. So it was kind of like the media journalism type thing plus the African American studies.
Correct. Yeah.
And so why the pageants?
Yeah, so I initially started pageants. I'm not a pageant girl by any means.
No, you don't look like one. No.
I started doing pageants when I was 21 as an opportunity to get scholarship money, which I was afforded that opportunity. I've gained over $35,000 from scholarships.
That's it. My daughter's entering pageants. She's only 10, but I need a plan.
In just a very few short years, because again, I started doing it when I was 21. So It was really an opportunity to gain scholarship money, but then also an opportunity to promote my personal platforms. I think pageants, the best thing about pageants is it gives you an opportunity to speak about causes you like, causes that mean something to your heart, and it also gives, a voice behind it, if you will, right? People want to listen, right? They see a sash and a crown. They're interested in knowing, well, what's that? Who's that girl, and what is she up to?
Yeah, and I was talking to you earlier, and I said on Facebook I saw you with Congresswoman Maxine Waters, right?
Yes.
And so so you are out and about, meeting people, talking to people, and talking about the things that matter to you as Miss Black America.
Yeah, I definitely am. My first platform is domestic violence awareness. So, unfortunately, I lost my sister in 2010 at the hands of domestic violence. So it's been really important to me to make sure that I'm keeping her memory alive, and that I'm also making sure that other victims get the help that they need. So I've been super busy, 3-part program, communication, just going to various college campuses, talking to young girls about my sister's story, about domestic violence, where to get help, since women ages 17 to 24 are at greatest risk. Education, so going into secondary schools and talking about what healthy relationships look like, and taking a preventative approach to domestic violence, since typically it's very reactive, and then obviously working with our legislators, that's huge. So
right. Let me ask you this: do you find in your experience, and listen, I got my experience, and I'm sure a lot of people do when it comes to this topic, but do you find in your experience that there unfortunately are a lot of girls and young women who don't really understand what a healthy relationship is?
Yeah, but I also think, as much as it is girls and young women that may not understand, I think it's also our male counterparts. I think that one of the biggest things about domestic violence, and particularly when we think about my second initiative, which is education, is, domestic violence starts with the way in which we socialize young girls and young boys, right? So if you're taught in a community that the only way to express yourself as a human being, particularly as a man, is through aggression and through anger and through power relations, and to only be the one in power, that can play out in a lot of different ways. So I think, again, it's really educating the entire community, because typically we think of domestic violence as only an issue that has to do with women, and in reality, this is not a women's issue. This is very much so a man's issue as well.
Right. And I'm glad you pointed that out. And, right now here in Philadelphia and our surrounding, communities, violence, deadly violence is such a huge issue. When you go out, do you find that there is a level of responsiveness from both the males and females that make you feel like, hey, this is really worthwhile? Or are you saying to yourself, like, gee, more needs to be done because it just doesn't seem like I'm having the kind of effect that I want to?
Yeah, I think that no matter where I go and whenever I speak about this issue, whether that's a college campus or, some type of secondary school, I notice that you may not always touch everyone, but you will touch someone. And oftentimes, unfortunately, I do meet, 2 to 3 people who will come up to me afterwards and say, this is what I'm going through, or this is what, one of my family members is going through. So, unfortunately, it's way more widespread than we even realize it, of course, because it's something that happens behind closed doors. So, I think, what's my favorite quote? If, just one life has breathed easier because you've lived, that's to have made a difference. So if I can touch, 1 to 2 to 3 people every time I go and talk about this issue, that's what matters to me. If I know one more person knows where to get help or what to do or how to assist a family member that's in that type of emergency situation, then I've done my job.
Now, let me ask you this. I mean, this is one of the, at least as far as I recall, one of the more polarized times in American history. And with everything that is going on, in particular around issues such as, equity in the black community, some of the language, some of the visual things that we've seen. Is there a greater role for yourself as Miss Black America today than there may have been a few years ago?
Yeah, well, it's funny that you bring that up. So my second platform that actually I took on as a part of doing this pageant, is knowledge of self. So liberation through education. There's a reason why, I initially went to school as an engineering major, but I went to Temple University, love my Owls, shout out to my Owls. Yes. And I ended up going into their Black Studies program. And being in that Black Studies program changed the trajectory of my life and the decision making and the type of career that I wanted. And I felt that knowledge was so powerful and so liberating that it made me not only want to continue seek that information for myself, but to be able to disseminate that knowledge. Because I think that's where the disconnect is with the general American public, is that they have no idea about the African American or the Black experience in this country or throughout the broader world. Because of course that's not taught in secondary schools. So it's very interesting to be on the PhD side of that and kind of see how these secondary school textbooks, are put out and really not screened for what we would call factual or evidence-based history. So I do think, my role as Miss Black America and with my platform is to kind of disseminate that knowledge and have those conversations, because I don't think we're ever going to get anywhere if, one, we don't have those conversations, and also if I'm not kind of directing folks in the places where they can get that knowledge that they don't have.
How have you been received by the white community or the Asian community or the Latino community, going outside of the African American community, when you bring your message of combating domestic violence and being aware of your identity and being aware of the Americans next to you who may not look like you? How has that been received?
Yeah, I think it really depends. Those are always the supporters who, are just like, congratulations, we're so excited for you to do a Black pageant. And of course, they're aware of the fact that the pageant is an opportunity to celebrate Black identity and Black culture, right? And that's okay. As any affinity group, it's okay for Asian Americans or, for Hispanic Americans or whatever it may be to celebrate their unique identities and their experiences in this country as it is for African Americans. But of course, there's always the naysayers. Why is there an all-Black pageant? And that's offensive. But of course, for me, it's about staying positive, but also educating, because when I hear comments like that and questions that have to do with that, it's paramount for me to provide the right reading material to kind of educate about why these things exist and what the history is behind this pageant. So, the pageant was started in 1968 because Black women were not seen on the Miss America stage at that time, although they had gotten rid of the infamous rule number 7, which said that contestants must be of the white race and in good health. They still hadn't had a state title holder on the stage at that time. Right. So the pageant was, essentially the pageant was a form of protest. To me, the history behind this pageant is, it's untouchable, right? It was started as a form of protest, and it was an opportunity to make a statement about Black women, about Black beauty. So, again, just kind of getting the message out and educating the larger community, not just the African American community, but the American community as a whole about the Black experience, about this pageant, and to know that it's okay for us to affirm and celebrate our unique identities. Mm.
And so let me ask you this. Have you been having a good time? Beyond all your platforms and the worthiness and all that, have you been having a good time?
I have. We just finished up CBC week, and, I ran into a whole bunch of people. Obviously, I got to hang out with Maxine Waters. I ran into Al Sharpton. I ran into Jesse Jackson. You always get to meet and talk to people. I met Eric Garner's mom, gave her the hug of my life. So, I am having a good time. I'm meeting people. I'm talking to people. I'm smiling, kissing babies, shaking hands, all that good stuff.
All right, good deal. And working on your PhD.
And working on my PhD. I'm in the midst of comprehensive exams. So for all my scholars out there, I'm getting through about 300 plus books preparing for an exam in January. So
as Frank Knuckles would say, focused and faithful.
Yeah, focused and faithful. Brian.
Right. All right. Well, listen, thank you for joining us. And listen, everybody, stay tuned because we're going to talk to writer-director Rel Dowdell and his newest project.
All right.
You are listening to In the Know with David O. Informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio on 860 AM WWDB.
If you've suffered an injury from a motor vehicle crash, trip and fall, construction, or work-related accident, contact the Padova firm to speak with John Padova himself. You've heard the name. That's because for over 25 years, John has been winning for his clients. John is dedicated to ensuring his clients are fully compensated. Call 215-893-0700. That's 215-893-0700. Don't suffer more than you have to. Call John Padova today. Help is on the way.
My friends, this is Joe Kraus. You've heard me on Philadelphia radio now for over 20 years, and I don't often endorse products or people unless they are real game changers. I want to tell you about Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located in Center City, Philadelphia. And at the end of this short personal endorsement, I want you to consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness. If you are recovering from an injury, if you or a family member has been diagnosed with a disorder that has stopped you in your tracks, or if you're like me, determined to learn about wellness while getting yourself prepared to stay healthy so you can enjoy the blessings of your family. Remember the name of this warm and caring location, Weinerman Pain and Wellness. Why should you consider Weinerman Pain and Wellness? Because they are who you expect them to be. Weinerman Pain and Wellness on the web at WeinermanPainandWellness.com.
Weinerman Pain and Wellness, located at 100 South Broad Street, just south of City Hall. Call Weinerman Pain and Wellness at 215-988-9503. That's 215-988-9503. Call today. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the Philly Labor RX Injured Workers Pharmacy Network, featuring PPC Pharmacy, First Choice Pharmacy, and Precision Scripts, providing injured workers with premium products and services from the point of injury through the entire healing process. The Philly Labor RX Pharmacy Network cares about injured workers.
At any given moment, somewhere in America, a baby is taking a first step, a developmental milestone. But for too many parents, a baby's first steps aren't just a milestone, they're a miracle. These are the parents of babies who were born prematurely or with birth defects. It's a crisis affecting more than 500,000 babies in the United States each year. You can help them by joining volunteers like you who walk in March for Babies. The money you raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Together, our steps make stronger, healthier babies a reality for thousands of families. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org to take the steps that help make milestones and even miracles possible. Who will you march for?
Introducing the YMCA. What, you already know the why? Or so you think. Sure, you know the why for a swim, a workout, even a game of hoops. But did you know we're more than that? We're a cause. When you take your jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Take a cardio class, while kids are in an after-school enrichment program. Practice your downward-facing dog as a teen practices her leadership skills. That's the why. We work with people no matter their age, income, or background and give them the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive, all with one simple goal in mind, to strengthen our community. And we've got so much more that does just that. So while you might think of the Y as that place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. Introducing the Y. We're so much more than a place. We're a cause. Visit ymca.net/more.
All right, and we are back. Listen, we started the show talking to Frank Knuckles Walker. He is a former percussionist, drummer with The Roots. He's a producer. He does a lot of things, and he is still in the studio. He lives in Philadelphia, so listen, you may run into him. And just be aware that he's a very fit guy. He exercises like crazy. He's got muscles everywhere. And then we talked to Miss Black America 2017, Brittany Lewis, and she kind of telling us all about like her platforms, her passions, her causes, and that in fact, yes, she is enjoying being Ms. Black America. And now we're going to talk to Rel Dowdell. He is a screenwriter, film director, film producer, and he's also an educator. He's been teaching, and I don't know, he may still be teaching, but he graduated from Central High School, Philadelphia. Go Lancers! All right, get that in there. And then he graduated magna cum laude from Fisk University, and he has a master's in film and screenwriting with highest distinction from Boston University. His feature film, a short film, came out, Train Ride, to great acclaim. He then came out with Changing the Game, which also was very much applauded as a very significant film. And now he's going to talk to us about his upcoming film. And when I say upcoming, 2017, I think we're going to launch soon or something.
Absolutely. Yep,
it's Where's Daddy?
All right.
Thanks for joining us, Rel.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you, Councilman. It's always an honor.
Hey, listen, you have kind of like really come out with some really, fantastic films, all that. But this looks a little different to me. I don't know. I mean, Where's Daddy? It's not. What are you doing with Where's Daddy?
It's interesting you answer that, Councilman, because this is my first real feature documentary. My other two feature films were narratives, right? So I've noticed now on my third film, all my films really deal with one common theme, and that is breaking the stereotypes of African American men. I think if African American male stereotypes can be defeated, our entire culture can be advanced, right? So I saw the deaths of Walter Scott, right? And I read about Walter Scott's death, and part of his death was linked to the fact that he had child support payments, right? If you look that up, it says it on there. He thought that when he was on the run that he was going to be incarcerated for failure for child support. Then I read another story about a guy named Michael Robinson, African-American male, who was in jail for child support, and he needed insulin shots from being a diabetic, and the police wouldn't give it to him. So he died right there in jail. So I said, well, there's a lot of African-American men who are suffering from the child support system. There's a disconnect somewhere between the justice system and African-American men, especially. It affects everybody, the child support system, obviously, with incarceration and penalties. But it seems like a lot of the brunt of the punishment is coming on African-American men, not just of working class, but of all classes. My film, I have people like Mr. Man Frisbee, Bona Hagins, Javon Pearson, and Christopher Barrios, Freeway, the entertainer, the rapper, Fred Barnett, who played for the Eagles. I cover this whole spectrum of people who all have these harrowing stories about how the child support system has somehow decimated each one of these people's lives. I even interviewed women, African-American females who were involved with this. So the whole film really is about balance, about giving a perspective to this problem, because it really is causing a divide, not just with black men and black women, but ultimately with the African-American child. There is a decimation going on in the black community, and a lot of it is being stemmed from the child support system. So my producer, a friend of mine, Melody Forrester, we sat down one day and said, look, I want to put this documentary together. How do we do it? But I realized after a while, I could pull all my subjects in from the Philadelphia area. I thought I had to go to California, LA. I mean, I was going to go to New York. I had a whole thing set out. But in the end, my whole film is right here in the crux of Philadelphia with these stories. And I think that it's going to be a fascinating motion picture. I really do.
Let me ask you this, because I'm sure there's somebody listening right now saying, hey, listen, daddies need to support their children. If they're not going to, they should go to jail. And there's probably a lot of women out there too saying, hey, that's right. Listen, I'm sorry they're going to jail, but you need to pay for the child that you brought into this world. And so could you talk a little bit about the issue of the system, and then in particular about the African-American family and the child that you spoke of?
I think that's a great question, Councilman, because that's where I go back to stereotypes. Like, there's a stereotype that African-American men don't want to be good fathers, right? So if you watch the Maury Povich show every day, you'll believe that black men are running from being a responsible parent. However, for every African-American male who they may so-called, quote-unquote, say running from responsibility, that deserves, let's say, whatever punishment that the system, quote-unquote, is saying to have, you have a plethora of black men who do want to be responsible parents, who may not have the financial capacity to do so. They may have some type of challenges inbred in their culture, but they do want to be good parents, but there's some hindrances.
Is the system one of those hindrances?
Absolutely, the system is one of them, because, I mean, think of it like this, Councilman. One of the questions in the film I ask is, when you put a person in jail for child support, should their cellmate be a murderer or a rapist or a larcenist or an arsonist? Does the punishment fit the crime? You see what I mean? So the question really is, the justice system is flawed, and we need some strong judges out here, strong people in legislation to make change. When judges and people in council make these oaths of promise to make change, one must live up to the fact that you have to stand for what is right. And it's hard to do that in this culture of society. But the child support system is punishing a lot of black men and destroying them and their families for something that really does need to be investigated. And I do believe that this film, when it comes out, it's a powerful movie, Councilman. It's powerful. And I think when this film comes out, good film can make change. And I believe this film can do that when it comes out.
I agree. When is it coming out?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. So I'm working on that now. The film has just been finished, and my producers and I are sitting down now with distributors to map out a template of when to release it. Like Brother Knuckles said earlier, timing is everything. And I think that the way that films are released now is so non-traditional. Before, you had to put your film in the theater to survive, but there's so many ways now to get exposure and have more people see it. Like my first film, Train Ride, got a limited release. My second film, Change the Game, got a pretty good release in several cities through Lionsgate. This one here, since it's a documentary, I just want to make sure, Councilman, as many people see it as possible. Black, white, Asian, Indian. I mean, I think once people hear the African-American male story, because a lot of people have never heard black men even speak about any topic. They've never heard a black man get on a platform and speak intelligently because we're not given the chance to do so. I think once people hear black men speak openly and honestly, brothers, you saw the trailer, Councilman. You had black men crying in this trailer about what they've gone through, right? Once you hear black male testament about this issue, I believe it can make some change.
Yeah, fundamentally, the issue is if you owe money,
yes, sir,
how can you pay the money if you're in jail?
Exactly. That's part of the problem.
And so couldn't we have a better system? Okay, for those recalcitrant people who just can and don't want to pay, there is jail.
Yes, sir.
But for those who want to pay and they're struggling and they're challenged, a system that would help them make those payments or be able to carry on, be that father.
I agree.
There's a lot of fathers who don't have money, but they're great fathers. And then when they can make those payments. How from this film do you see the change that would come about that would make the system better for everybody and for African American males in particular?
I would love to see when the film comes out, some important people in the justice system sit down and say we need to discuss some changes. For instance, you make a great point. Like one of the subjects in the film says, when you're in jail for child support, the meter does not stop running, right? It accumulates. So if you owe $1,000 when you're in jail, and you come out, you might owe $5,000. So there's no stopping meter. And then one of the subjects, Freeway, the entertainer, he said that at one point he was getting mail sent to his house with bills that he didn't even know where they came from. $1,000. He didn't even know where this money he owed came from. So the bottom line is, if one of these individuals does not have wise counsel, I'm using that term importantly.
Yes.
If you don't have enough the resources to call an attorney and say, what do I do about this letter that I have for child support? I owe $10,000. If you just go into a courtroom without that defense, your chances of going to jail are exponentially high, right? You see what I mean, Councilman? So the bottom line is, I want this film to educate people because there are ways to mitigate the situation if you make the right decisions, right? Once the damage is done, what can you do to salvage yourself and hopefully your family?
Right. And so, that is a really important issue that you're bringing to light, not just for African American males and children, but for everybody.
Yes, sir.
Is our current system more of a debtor's prison than it needs to be?
Yes,
is
sir.
it in fact an impediment to healthy families?
Yes,
or
sir.
should we keep it the way it is? I think your film will shed a lot of light,
Yes,
at least
sir.
certainly stir the pot and cause people to think about it.
I had one young lady speak in the film. Her name was Perella Long, and she was fantastic because she came on and she even told me in the film why she filed child support. She said, look, this is the reasons why I did this. And she said, this is what happened afterwards. See what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is that the only way to really get to the bottom of the situation is you got to have honest people talk about the situation. And you have to have strong people in the justice system who do not buy into stereotypes. There's a lot of people in this world that have an inherent feel of African American men. As soon as a black man comes to the courtroom, I'm punishing the black man. Well, guess what? Every black man is not a criminal. Every black man is not one who is doing wrong. There are many black men out here who are trying to do the right things, educated, working, no matter what the background is. But your bottom line is you and your mind have to put aside stereotypes in order to make change. So the trailer for the film, Where's Daddy's on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and put in Where's Daddy trailer. It comes right up, Rel Dowdell. I hope people see it. Mine easy to contact. I'm on Facebook. I'm on everywhere. So, I'll keep everybody up to date on when this film comes out. But I really do think, Councilman, people like you who are not afraid to have people like me come on here and talk about this issue because it really is destroying a lot of people. I hate to say it.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for joining us, and to all our guests, to Frank Knuckles, to Brittany Lewis, and to you. So join us next week, next Tuesday, for In the Know with David O.
You've been listening to In the Know with David O on 860 AM WWDB. Tune in again next Tuesday at 2 p.m. for more informative, substantive, intelligent talk radio with Philadelphia Councilman David O. 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 Philadelphia Councilman